Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be talking about the upcoming pattern pretty much throughout the rest of December and in through the earlier portion of January. Now, before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. I'd also highly recommend that you check out our very exciting store down below, and then also our very awesome Patreon page, where we're actually going to be making a post about an upcoming pretty miniature snow event for the next couple of days. We're going to actually have a snowfall map there as well available for you guys. Again, you can join down in the description and the pinned comment down below. Anyways, for today's comment of the day, I want to know, when do you think our next big snowstorm for the eastern United States is going to be? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Now let's get right into this video, and first things first, we're taking a look at the simulated radar here from our European model. And this is actually going to be kind of like tonight. I would say this is probably around 10 p.m. or so. And you can see that we have some rain showers going on down there for the Gulf states, up through kind of the Ohio Valley. But there is some snow along the Great Lakes there for portions of Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York potentially as well. Let's just take it to about, I would call this maybe 3 or 4 a.m. here on Sunday, December 20th. And as you can see, we start to get some more heavier snowfall going on for Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York. So it's light to moderate, but it is heavier than the frame before. That's what I meant. Not actually heavy, but it's just heavier than it was just a frame ago. Now, in general, I expect this to mostly just be snow showers, but there is some widespread accumulation that I do expect on a very small scale. Again, you can check that out in our Patreon post in the description and the pinned comment down below. Now, what we're going to do in a moment is move on to that much more major Christmas snowfall event. Alright, but first we actually have to take a look at the tail end of this first system. You can see it actually does move up into the northeast and bring some snow showers for portions of New England. So they are going to be included in this event. And according to our European model, this is actually the total snowfall. So again, I do expect some areas of widespread minor accumulation. There's also going to be some lake effect enhancement is what I would call it involved, where there's kind of a snowstorm, but also kind of some lake effect in there as well. It's kind of a mix of the two. And there will be some heavier pockets, which again, you can check out on that Patreon post. And really, I wanted to mention one thing as we move towards Monday the 21st here. This is the afternoon hour. We are so close to something connecting, a very large snowstorm, but I do not think it's going to happen. We only have 66 hours until then. And I think there's a very limited amount of time for something to come together for that. So unfortunately, I do not think that'll end up being a large snowstorm. But look at all that precipitation offshore and then all that cold air there for the Northeast. It was very close to being something, but it ends up being, well, mostly nothing. So, and then by the time we reach the 22nd, the morning hour on the 22nd, we do get another kind of minor snowfall event. That might be our next one we need to talk about. So that's going to be, again, for about Tuesday at about 7 a.m. We do have a small coastal system there with some snow showers and some heavier pockets in there, again, for about the 22nd. That's going to be the morning hour. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on and finally talk about that more major Christmas system, where actually we have two models showing two very separate solutions for that storm. So we will have to wait and see what happens, but we're going to take a look at both of those options and both of those models. Now, for this Christmas system, we need to start out over here in the Rockies and the Plains as we start to see some snow develop there for the southern Rockies, especially around the 23rd morning hours. So this is the day before Christmas Eve. And we're taking a look at a little bit of a low pressure system developing here along a very strong cold front as well. So that's going to be kind of the theme here with this system. So this is, again, the morning hours of the 23rd. Let's just move towards about 1 a.m. on the 24th, Christmas Eve, and we're going to be seeing a lot of snowfall here for Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Wisconsin, according to this model. Again, a 998 millibar low pressure center there in southeastern Missouri. So this model here, our European model, actually keeps this one way further west. So we can see that eventually, as we move towards about 1 p.m. on Thursday, December 24th, we see snowfall going on for Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan there. And I want to warn you here, don't get your hopes up if you are in these regions, because a lot of these models are calling for very different things with this storm. We're still about 6 days away from this storm, so there's plenty of time for things to change a lot. Nothing is set in stone yet at all. Let's just take it to about 1 p.m. on Friday, which is going to be Christmas Day. As you can see, a very strong cool down moves into the eastern United States. but there's really minimal amounts of snow going on. There is a lot of rain there for New England as well as portions of the Mid-Atlantic. There is some snowfall there, though, for Pennsylvania and New York, especially going on. And this would be like the total snowfall map for the entire model run according to the European model real quickly. So as we can see, there's plenty of snowfall. This is over the next 10 days for Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, the Rockies, as well as the Cascades there, and then the mountains of California as well, and then some of the more mountainous regions there of the east, I guess the eastern United States, as well as those lakes. You can see that definitely there's going to be some lake effect snow going on over the next 10 days. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to move on and take a look at that GFS model, which has a very, very different solution here with that Christmas system. All right, now here we are taking a look again at that GFS model, and this is going to be, I would say, approximately, let's call it 10 p.m. on the 23rd, so the day before Christmas Eve. And we could see that very strong cold front, and I was paying attention to that, thinking maybe we could see some severe weather. Right now, it seems like there's a pretty limited chance at severe weather there for the Gulf states, but really the setup is pretty classic. Very warm air out in front of a very cold, very strong cold front there. That's usually a very classic winter severe weather setup, so I'm going to be watching that closely. We're going to be paying attention to that. We'll wait and see what happens with that. But for now, we're taking a look mostly at the snow chances. You can see there is some snowfall going on for Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, as well as some mixing going on there for Indiana and Kentucky. But it's not really until we reach kind of the morning hours of Thursday, December 24th, Christmas Eve, at about, I would say this is probably about 11 a.m., and we can see plenty of snowfall going on for Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio. Kind of behind that cold front is where we're seeing most of the snow, and there's actually a pretty strong low pressure system developing there over West Virginia along that cold front. And it is kind of on the stronger side for this type of storm, so it is kind of an interesting setup. We don't see this a lot, I would say. Very, very interesting setup. Eventually, as we reach about, I would say maybe this is approximately 10 p.m. on Christmas Eve night. We can see that that cold front is arriving there for most areas in the eastern United States. And we actually have what we'd call an inverted trough, so a very interesting setup as well. Likely it is colder there in Orlando, Florida than it is in even the very northern tip of Maine, a lot of those northeastern regions, just because it's inverted. So we see kind of like a ridge that is developing above the trough. A very interesting and unique setup, and you know something weird is going on when they're showing snow in Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, and then rain for New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Very interesting setup, like I said. A lot of mixing going on for Pennsylvania as well. A very sloppy system just because of the axis of the trough, like I was saying. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on and just take a look at a little bit more of this, just kind of close out this system, take a look at a few other snow systems potentially as well, and then we're going to close out the video. So here's kind of a view at that jet stream, so you can kind of tell what I'm talking about with the trough. You can see that it looks normal on the very western end of it, a very deep trough though. And then as it heads back up north through the Mid-Atlantic, you can see it eventually takes a little bit of a western curve there through Pennsylvania and up into kind of like Canada there. So it's aiming back west, and that's what leads to the warmth for New England and then the very cold air down there for the southeast. And we do see this setup from time to time. It is a very interesting setup though, and it creates some pretty unique types of storm systems for sure. And as we move on towards about 1 p.m. on Christmas Day, you can tell it was definitely cold enough for snow if we would have seen a little bit of a better setup. There's plenty of time for this to look different, so certainly nothing is out of the realm of possibilities. But as of right now, it seems like that cold on the southeastern end is going to move in a little bit too quickly for anything major at this point, though we will be watching, we will be tracking this and seeing if anything happens. Let's just move it towards the 28th here. And as you can see, we get a little bit of a snow system there for the upper Midwest. Pay attention to the fact that I'm saying this right now. But this is definitely something you want to take with a grain of salt because we're going to move very far into this model run. And the reason I'm doing this is to show you guys that we're going to be in a very active pattern. But for now, right after Christmas, it seems like a zonal pattern. Look at all those blue and red lines, how they kind of just move straight from west to east. That means not really any troughs or ridges going on in the United States. Eventually, as we reach about the 29th, the morning hours of the 29th, you can see we have 3 separate snowstorm systems active in the United States. One up there for the Pacific Northwest, one down there for the South Central United States, and one up there for the Northeast. We get into a very active pattern. By the 31st, it shows more snow for the Northeast. Then by the time we reach the 2nd of January, it shows an even stronger system. And then eventually by the 4th, it shows another system come through. Again, I'm not saying that any of these storms in particular are going to happen, and I really don't think they will, actually, because this model run, by the time we get another model run, it's going to be showing something completely different. However, I do want to mention that the important thing to take note of here is that it's showing an active pattern. It's showing multiple storms, and that's not really likely to change. We likely will see multiple storms. It's just going to look a lot different for each individual storm, if that makes sense. All right, now here's the total snowfall according to the GFS for the next 384 hours, so through January 4th. Very snowy, pretty much for the entire United States. So very active pattern we have coming up, in my opinion, and also according to the models as well. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, do you think anywhere in the United States is going to have a white Christmas? And if so, where? And Falcon Doip said, I'm about 100% sure that around Binghamton will have a white Christmas because they got about 40 inches of snow. So what he's saying basically is that the snow is going to stick around until Christmas. I thought that was pretty clever and pretty accurate too. Anyways, for today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons: Sebastian Tao, John Bembenek, Justin Quantrell, James Wade, Dovey Nagel, Alan Belemo, Adam S., Larry the Pan, Donna Carnes, Cameron Marshall, and Aiden Mattis, alongside our diamond patrons: Bill Roberts, Alan Sherry, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Codalessa, Michael Buell, Terry Curtis, Cat Bite, Charles Stinnett, Kellen Manhart, It's Jay, Cindy Klein, Alicia Davis, and Mark J. If you would like to be on this Patreon end screen, you can do so by joining our very exciting Patreon page in the description and the pinned comment down below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media. I will see you guys in the next video.